Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices. Action sequences or inventory management here. Frick yeah. No inventory management. And movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot. Okay.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Oh, okay. During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey, others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Okay, some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder Sign. Right. Ooh. Okay, so am I supposed to be able to move here? No. I can't move with
penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Oh. Okay. Left bumper zooms, right bumper interacts. Ah, okay.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Oh. How's the sound? Is it too loud or is it just good? Oh, I already missed a piece of trivia! What? Can I get it again? Hold on, wait. No! We have to restart. We have to restart. It's okay. Let me just... Oh, frick. Wait, but it only... So do I have to find random... Oh, like this. Okay. Morphine. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. Alright, I will actually see if I can turn the game volume down in the Friedrich Serturner, so whatever the frick, who first isolated the substance originally named it morphium, after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. Right. You can read the discovered trivia immediately or go back to them later in the main menu. Okay. So let me go into the options. Audio. 70. Actually, let's put both in. Okay.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Welcome in, Massacre! Lovecraft and the Great War. Dagon was written around a month after the United States entered World War I. Lovecraft was actively interested in its course. He composed many poems in which he gave encouragement to soldiers and commented on the events unfolding in Europe. He tried to enlist in the army, which he mentions in one of the letters to Reinhard Kleiner. Some time ago, impressed by my entire uselessness in the world, I resolved to attempt enlistment despite my almost invalid condition. I argued that if I chose a regiment soon to depart for France, my sheer nervous force, which is not inconsiderable, might sustain me till a bullet or piece of shrapnel could more conclusively and effectively dispose of me. Letters to Reinhard Kleiner, H.P. Lovecraft. But even though he passed the physical exam, his mother prevented him from going to war. She has threatened to go to any lengths, legal or otherwise, if I do not reveal all the ills which unfit me for the army. I am Providence, the life and times of H.P. Lovecraft. Okay. Let's go down to 45. Whoop. Yeah, I noticed my mic volume was down a tiny bit. Alright. So anything else? Oh, what's this? Nothing.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Oh. Okay. Welcome to the entirety of the game. Okay, so it's basically just a story. The Huns. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD or whatever. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on July 27th, 1900, before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under their king Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the first Hague Convention of 1899. Holy shit! I've played more interactive novels as a kid on Windows 2. Interactive novel, let's go! We have to play, though. I'm committed. We're learning history, guys. Or whatever. Go to the boat.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Right. Have any Okay, nothing here it looks like, other than to just take our shit and go. Okay, let's go. Let's go! We're getting in the boat.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Hello, dipshitty, welcome!
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
God damn, this would be scary though. Out on the ocean, it would be like pitch black. It would be pitch black, and you would just be surrounded by endless water everywhere. Like, holy shit. Like, it looks nice in the game, but like, in reality, this would be so freaking scary. This would be terrifying. Nothing for me to see or read. No, nothing. Nothing at all. Okay. Oh god, the moon is blinding me. It's blinding me.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Agreed, I could not do this in reality. No way. Sometimes in the morning I can see by the light of the moon. Has to be a full moon though. Yeah, true. If it's like a bright full moon, it might be a bit light out. Holy frick. Oh! The Return to Short Stories. Dagon was written in July 1917 and first published in 1919 in The Vagrant, an amateur magazine focused on the supernatural. The story is the first of his stories that introduced an element from the Cthulhu mythos. Dagon itself, a pagan cult worshipping Dagon, later appears in The Shadow over Innsmouth, one of Lovecraft's most popular works. 1917 is also the year when he wrote The Tomb, a story about Jervis Dudley, a daydreamer who discovers a mysterious mausoleum in the woods by his house and becomes obsessed with it. Ooh, that sounds kind of cool. These two works marked Lovecraft's return to short story writing after he burned most of his attempts at the genre 9 years prior and decided to concentrate on poetry. I am so sorry that I am shit at reading, apparently. Lovecraft stated that it was his friend, William Paul Cook, a literary publisher and critic, who convinced him to start writing weird fiction again. Right? We are drinking water.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept.
Oh god, what changed?
Its details I shall never know. For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
I have a collection of H.P. Lovecraft stories that I got from Barnes & Noble. Jello has the Necronomicon. I've never read it, but he's apparently read it multiple times. What the frick? What in the hell? This is not the shore that we wanted to land upon. No, it is not. Is there any trivia? Doesn't look like it.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
I got the necro num 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 num. I have a special edition collection of all of Lovecraft stories. Ooh, nice. What? What do you mean you would, Slasher? I've heard about them for years, but I've never actually read any myself or know much about them, but they are supposed to be really good. Honestly, Amy, same. I hear about H.P. Lovecraft all the time, but I've never actually read any of them. I don't think I have, anyways.
And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Ew.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Hello, spider! Ooh, it's just like staring at him. Well, okay.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and
look at this.
barren immensity.
For a second, I thought that was a starfish. Roop doop. Yeah, we're looking at some tentacles right now. Welcome in, Roop. Hope you've been having a good day.
There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Oh, gross. Oh, that's gross.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Oh! We have a thing. Damn dark void of space, what them tentacles do. Lots of wiggling. You didn't know Roop used to go by Macroween? He's one of Tippy's mods? Oh! Emotional support mod. Do you prefer Roop? Or do you want to be called Macro? I don't know why I developed a bit of a accent there for like a split second, but it is what it is. The origins of Dagon. Dagon seems to be inspired by Fishhead, a short novel by Irvin S. Cobb about unnatural affinities between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake. Supernatural horror in literature, H.P. Lovecraft, and Lovecraft's dream about a strange island emerging from the ocean and him crawling in the ooze that covered its surface. Gross. I dreamed that whole hideous crawl and can yet feel the ooze sucking me down. Lovecraft's interest in the topic stemmed from his aversion to fish and sea smells. In his own words, I have hated fish and feared the sea and everything connected with it since I was 2 years old. I don't blame him. Fish smell ain't that pleasant. But I cannot recall what earlier experience gave me such a profound and lasting aversion to the sea and seafood. I prefer whatever you feel like calling me. It could even be Bobby Joe, I don't care. Okay. Roopy Joe it is. How did I miss so much trivia? And you telling me you freaking called me out for missing one trivia. Damn. Now you gotta play it again, Sin. You gotta play it again now. Alright. Oh! Ew, gross!
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
What in the freaking hell is that? Why is it so big? What the heck?
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Any trivia? No?
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
More trivia now? No?
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
Oh my god, I feel like this would smell so bad, and like, I feel like it would be so excruciatingly hot.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Right. You're probably right. Lots of rotting fish and stuff in that dirt. Ugh. Ugh, like especially this fish right here. Oh. It's like, what is happening?
On the third morning,
Oh god.
I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
Oh. What the? This fish just like was mid-swimming. Okay, where do we go? Oh.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Right onwards. Oh, it's squishy, but not as squishy as before.
All day I forged steadily westward,
What the
guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
What the hell is that? What? There's no trivia? You're not gonna tell me what the freaking monster is? They were just like, oh, that's normal. No, it's not poo. No, this is just completely normal. What is that? Oh my god, it's a giant whale! What the hell? Oh my god, this would be creepy though. This would actually be kind of creepy. Making sure I don't miss any trivia.
That night, I encamped, and on
like
the
a
following
worm
day
thingy.
still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
What the freaking shit, ew! It looks like, what do you call them? Maggots! It's like maggots. Gross. Is there any trivia? Oh, never mind. I lied. There is. The horrors of the ocean. The creator of the Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of Rillier was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, the Mariana snailfish, can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet, below the ocean's surface in never-ending darkness and in hellishly crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photos of deep-sea creatures, such as the anglerfish, the fangtooth, or the viperfish, and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's hard not to find some irony in this. Brine pools? I don't think I know what those are. I don't think so. Do I want to know? I feel like I don't want to know. Ew, these look gross. Where do we go? Okay.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Damn. Underwater pools of water that are salty and toxic that they form lakes underneath the water at the bottom of the ocean. What? Well, I'm gonna need to do a react. Jello, find me a react video of brine pools. I need to learn.
Setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
Oh yeah, okay, let me see if there's any trivia around here. Why is there blue glowing lights? Oh. Now they're gone. Oh, now they're there.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
Whoa.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Yeah, that was kind of a lame move.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Alright. Trivia.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon.
Huh?
Whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
What the frick?
I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Hell no.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost.
What the heck?
And of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
What? He's gonna climb down there?
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent.
I don't know. I don't think I could still do it. You're off the edge of the map, Jack. Here there be monsters. We're climbing down the edge.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Oh god. Here we go. Going down.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated.
Some kind of building down there.
All at once, my attention was captured
Whoa.
by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Ooh. Okay. Cool.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
I mean, it looks like it, but it's kind of weird. Like,
But I
literally
was
just-
conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
No. Like, weird.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express. For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened,
Okay.
yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
It's just like nothing. There's like nothing here. What
The
the?
moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that
Whoa.
hemmed in the chasm.
Oh god, I don't like that noise.
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Right. Oh. Let's go.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
There's a turtle, shark, the hammerhead shark. We have jellyfish. We have a seashell. We have a seahorse. We have a crab, a starfish, another jellyfish, another shell, another jellyfish, an oyster. Not an oyster. Like I'm freaking thinking of the Pokemon, the Omastar. The Omastar.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Yes, all that stuff.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world,
What the frick is that?
but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Oh, wait. Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, At the Mountains of Madness, The Nameless City, journals and characters' notes, The Shadow Out of Time, The Haunter of the Dark, islands emerging from the ocean, The Call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Mygo in The Whisperer in Darkness. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner of similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. Alright.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men.
Thank you for the follow, welcome in!
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
What in the hell? They almost look like mermaids, but like not mermaids. Like they're like octopus people.
Or paying homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
What the heck?
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips. Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
Gross.
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Holy shit! Whatever that creature is looks really cool though.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size. But in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
Yeah, he is a big boy, considering that's likely to be a blue whale.
Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Next.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw
Oh, what?
it.
What am I seeing? Oh no!
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Oh no, what's coming? What? Scare me!
It darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith.
I would be running. I would be running.
About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
What?
I think I went mad then.
I just passed out. I mean,
Of my
same
frantic
dude.
ascent of the sloping cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
What the hell? Wait, are we running? Wait, I want to look. I can't look back. No, I want to look back and see the creature. Okay, run. Run.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Oh god, look at the whale. Where do I go? Okay. Keep running, dude.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat.
Oh no.
At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Oh god. It was like a squid person.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
What the hell?
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
I don't have any legs! Or nothing. I don't exist! Oh god. Where's my legs? Is there any trivia? Aha! The journalist. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative, which included political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and literary criticism, written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again, for the first time since his teenage years. Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. In this excerpt from The Conservative, the master of horror fiction explains his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than the conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations would undoubtedly retain secret armaments, and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or ever can be above warfare until the basic impulses of the human animal shall have miraculously changed. Flipping! I have no legs! Oh god! Alright.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist
What the frick is that? Okay.
and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
The fish god? Wow, what a fancy office. Dagon. Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad chose him as the patron saint of their war conquest. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. Oh my god. In H.P. Lovecraft's works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the ocean. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. That is really cool, actually. Alright. Continuing.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Oh! It is the Necronomicon! August Derleth and the Cthulhu Mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company, Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Ah, alright. Where do we go? Oh, next. Oh my god, it's staring at me. What do I do? Hello? Do I turn the light on? Oh, I found it. The scientist. These days, the word scientist is a widely accepted term, but at the time Dagon was published, it was subject to a wide debate. After the author used it in the story, critics pointed out that man of science was a more appropriate term to employ. He admitted that if Dagon were to be reprinted, he would indeed use the phrase they suggested. Scientist was coined as an analog to artist, to be used when referring to those studying different branches of science. Yet, in the 19th and early 20th century, scientific researchers in Great Britain and the United States were of the opinion that man of science, resembling the term man of letters, was the only proper choice. Among other things, it was gender specific, indicating that science was an endeavor to be pursued by only one sex. The term scientist became more accepted only after World War II, and man of science started fading into obscurity as an old-fashioned synonym. Okay. Now where do I go? Ah. Okay, Sin.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Oh god, what thing? Wait, is there any more trivia here?
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco. Even though he used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult, in his correspondence with friend Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. What? He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to Zelia Brown. Zelia Brown? As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intend to, having a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Drinking excited my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition. The prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as of any other. Yes. Clearly, I cannot read old text. Yeah, right? Smoking at 12. Holy. Right.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed.
Oh God.
Worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked
Holy
granite.
shit! That thing looks so cool!
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
It's like a bunch of Godzillas. Wonder if Dredge is inspired by Dagon at all? I have Dredge. I think I do have Dredge, yeah. I think I have it on GOG or something. Oh my god, it's a bunch of Godzillas! Woo! They're doomed.
The end is near.
We're back here again. What the hell? Oh god! No one's home. Nobody is home
I hear
at
a
all.
noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Oh. Wait, is there trivia? Oh no, there goes Tokyo Godzilla! Except New York.
It shall not find me.
What is looking for you? Open the door! Now! No!
God, that hand!
Oh god, it's the freaking Squid Man!
The window! The window!
It's the Squid Man! Where's the... Oh god! Thank you for playing! We hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We would appreciate it if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out our other games and DLC. Ooh, Cthulhu's Bedtime Stories. That sounds pretty cool. Well, that was not what I was expecting. It was pretty cool.